Actually, this next topic is a fairly interesting counterpoint.
To the Coleco Chameleon.
Yeah, to the Coleco Chameleon. There's an interesting Kickstarter. It's already well funded for something called the Sinclair ZX Spectrum Vega Plus console. It's a pretty looking little handheld. It has 1,000 licensed Spectrum games in there. It has room for you to add more Spectrum games. It's at about $120 US money. It's £100, 120, 125 US dollars. You can play it in your hand. You can hook it up to your TV. The reason why this is an interesting counterpoint is for less than the price of a console, you have a on-the-go version of what was a very fondly remembered computer with with a huge game library, many of them also fondly remembered. But here's the thing that I want to point out, and this is why something like this is appealing and succeeds, whereas something like the Coleco Chameleon is a very different monster. I've said before, what's the fucking point with the Coleco Chameleon? And I mean, I don't understand what market it's supposed to fill. You're not running it on its own architecture. You're going to be using cores, supposedly.
It has nothing to do with Coleco.
It has nothing to do with Coleco. So basically, you're just playing homebrew games for other systems on a different system. This, however, gives you access to games that you remember, but it does so without you needing the original vintage computer, and you don't have to go out and collect the games, many of them on media that was quite degradable. So this is actually, I imagine, I'm kind of interested, frankly, and I have very little experience with the Sinclair, minor experience. To people who remember this was probably something that got eaten up. It looks professional. It's its own machine tooling. They seem to manage that without breaking the bank. It's a slick-looking console, and it's done. Not only is it's not just a prototype, it's done.
Yeah, I think obviously this is going to be an emulator, and obviously the ROMs you can download all online. Mm-hmm. But it's really classy for them to go out and license 1,000 games. I'm surprised it's that many. There must be one or two shareholders or one or two companies that somehow own all the licensed.
Or maybe there's a couple,
that rolled them all up.
A few big companies
that rolled them all up, because that's insane that they got that many on here.
Sure.
To me, it's almost rewarding them that okay, you guys did something really cool. It looks like almost like a PSP. It's a pretty big LCD screen too.
Yeah,
that was pretty sizable. You have 4 face buttons. You have additional buttons in case it's a computer game you probably need. So basically, you have 7 or 8 buttons. It looks like to play with besides a D-pad. So that's pretty cool. And you have your AV out to a TV, right? Mm-hmm. You have a micro SD slot so you can probably download more ZX Spectrum games and play them. It looks exactly. It looks classy. Their ducks are in a row. It's reasonably priced. And there's 1,000 games that are licensed on it.
And it has a purpose. To me, that's the biggest thing. Yes,
it has a purpose because it's not like you can easily go out and get a ZX Spectrum and play it easily and get all the games on the original hardware. That hardware is defunct versus something like this.
Right.
That's another big difference, too.
So, yeah, I don't have much more to say to that other than as a perfect counterpoint to what we've been talking about the past 2 weeks now.
And it's probably done by people... the 4 partners. Oh, Sir Clive Sinclair.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking trust him to do it.
Yep.
The guy whose name on it.
Yeah.
I trust him to do it.
I don't know why we forgot to mention that initially. Yeah, he's actually in on the project.
You mean Mr. Sinclair? The guy who did the world's first pocket calculator? Okay.
Sure.
And he did the best-selling home computer, UK's best-selling home computer of all time. Yeah, I trust him to come out with a product with his reputation, his name on the line, and it's his legacy. Yeah. I think he can do that. Sure. So this isn't just people dreaming of, I bought a shell, let's come out with a game console. They don't give a shit about the game console shell. They just care about the software and having a good product.
Right.
They're developing the console in the correct direction. Software
on up.
Yes. Go out towards the bullshit encasing. In this case, it's just a cool handheld.
And hold on. I just want to point out that... Okay, so they only wanted 100,000 pounds. And I don't know what the conversion is, but I will say that's a lot less.
125,000.
Yeah,
US.
Yet they were still able to machine tool their own little.
What? Really?
Their own little casing.
So they didn't have to buy.
It wasn't. I guess
molds
I guess that wasn't 90% of the cost.
They weren't saving tens of thousands of dollars like they claim by using the Jaguar shells.
And believe me, I've looked into machine tooling for certain things, and it is expensive. But you know what? You can do it. You can do it.
By the way, there's over 14,000 games that were created for original Spectrum machines, which to me is mind-boggling. That's probably a lot more than even DOS games were.
Or Apple too.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's
14,000. Well, then again, that was their main sort of computing. NES wasn't that big.
Sure.
So that's insane. Now I feel like I have to buy this. I don't go into many Kickstarters, but this the quality of this. And the fact that the guy who's Sir Clive Sinclair is making this.
I promise we're not shilling two products on one podcast, but I kind of want this too. Let's move on.
Okay.